The Stack. People, Business, Technology. With Dan Tomaszewski of Everything MSP.
Hello, everybody. Dan Tomaszewski here with Everything MSP. Hope you're doing great. We are here live at Pax8 Beyond in Denver, Colorado. The energy here has been electric. This event has brought together vendors, partners, thought leaders all across the channel, and we're having a great time, great conversations, talking about the future of the MSP space and the evolving role of Pax8. And I'm very excited to be joined by Jared Pangretic, who is the Senior Vice President of Sales for Americas at Pax8. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I mean, I mentioned just the energy here as being electric. I said that last year.
Yeah.
It's even more. I mean, it is on fire.
Yeah.
Here.
It's bigger, right?
It's bigger.
In all of the ways.
Yeah.
From the stage, the setup, the vendor expo hall, the sessions we have.
Yeah.
Right. It's more. And it's difficult to think about because last year actually felt like, how could it be bigger than it is now? And it is.
Like, I mean, my thought is, how do you top it? Right.
Yeah.
And you guys did it, you know, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And, so, I mean, is there anything that's really sticking out for you right now?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. I mean, look, as you know, for Beyond, our vision here is to center it around the community, education, and innovation. Those are the three pillars. And so over the 3 days, and we just got started.
Right.
We already have had an amazing welcome reception yesterday.
Yeah.
There was an international happy hour and reception that took place. So we have folks from 75 countries.
That's incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that many people are here for this community.
Right.
And then, starting today, having our opening keynotes, right? Having Rob Ray, hearing from Nick Hetty and Scott Chasen.
Yeah.
Already amazing, right? And setting the foundation for what's ahead, what's going on now.
Right.
But also look into the future a little bit, right? With what we heard from the visionary keynote.
Yeah. I mean, I have spoken to several MSPs today, and it's funny as they're using the same word. I said, what do you think about the AI discussion?
Yeah.
And I've heard the same word over and over, spot on. And, the thing that I guess I look at is, we talk about AI and, it's just another buzzword, but how Scott presented it today and how he articulated what the future of AI is was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps to illustrate it in a way of, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
This is the future of an MSP, because, there is some level of being a commodity as far as doing what we do.
Yeah.
But the future in what he presented was rock solid.
Yeah. I'm really happy to hear that. I couldn't agree more. It's such an exciting opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. If you think in any way that it was a commodity, right? Commoditized in any way. Well, AI is just blowing that completely off the rail in its thinking. And I think what Scott did lay out was, here are the phases, right?
Yep.
Here are the 4 phases. Here's a toolkit, a research paper to come along with it. That is actually outlining a major look into the future,
Right.
but what can happen right now.
Yeah.
And I feel as though in this community, that is a huge thing that has been missing and has been needed.
Yeah.
How do we go to market?
Yep.
How do we price it? How do we work with our clients to deliver when they're asking us all of this, and how to do it in a secure way, in a compliant way?
Yeah.
Really, really great stuff.
You guys are clearing through the clutter and helping MSPs to understand what their next steps are.
Yeah.
I mean, again, MSP after MSP, their excitement from that presentation was fire.
Yeah.
Total fire.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Really glad to hear that.
So you're responsible for America and in Canada. So
right.
What are you seeing in terms right now as far as growth for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a few things. Let me start off. I'll talk about just my experience, right? Coming and being at Pax8 and what's gotten us here to this moment and where we're heading.
Yeah.
So I joined the company in 2014.
Okay.
And so it's been about 11-year journey up to this point.
Yeah.
April was 11 years. And you got to think, when I joined the company, we were about 6 months in to actually accepting our first dollar in transaction through the marketplace.
Wow.
So you talk about commerce just beginning.
Right.
We really just got it started.
Yeah.
And the vision, of course, in our conversation was, look, we're a cloud commerce marketplace.
Sure.
And we want to do this through a partner channel ecosystem through MSPs. And, we met, of course, with the idea, what vendors do you work with? And we, of course, would tell them the 3 or 4 vendors we had, and they'd say, well, 3 of them I don't like, and 1 of them I've never heard.
Sure.
So come back when you actually have built out something.
Yep.
Okay, no problem. We'll turn to the vendors, right? And say, hey, we're building a cloud commerce marketplace. We need you, right, into our ecosystem to deliver this consolidation of billing, provisioning through APIs, integration work down into our partner community. And they'd say, well, great. How many partners that? And we would say, well, we don't.
Right.
You know, so we were stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
We got our start obviously here in Denver, Colorado. It's our global headquarters. Still the main area for our employee, and ultimately America is number 1 in terms of our partner volumes.
Okay.
You actually heard from Nick earlier today, 42,000 partners globally.
Wow.
A crazy large ecosystem.
That's huge
compared to when I started, when we had no partners.
Right.
Right. So yeah, currently today responsible for US and Canada. Look, we made the decision to move into Canada for a couple of reasons. First of all, the darling of the show here is the size of the SMB market.
Yeah.
And we know that in Canada, the market is predominantly small to mid-sized businesses.
Okay.
And so an amazing opportunity for expansion. We moved into Canada about 5 years ago, and we saw that, of course, the market opportunity, the maturity of the partner type that was there, the MSP, it fit our DNA, and we wanted to replicate that. And I will say, when we first started, we couldn't bill in Canadian dollars.
Okay.
It was very manual when we first started. We had some folks in the US supporting that business in Canada, but we saw a huge market opportunity because our vision and commitment to the enablement and services wrapped around our marketplace, we knew as a differentiator. And we saw that. It was the feedback we saw from partners in the market. It's what they wanted.
Right.
We've moved into market. We now currently to date, the entire team that's supporting our Canadian partners are in Canada, predominantly in Toronto, in Montreal, and also in Vancouver.
Okay.
But we are really starting to get a lot of momentum in Canada.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about, those growing pains, if you will, right? I mean, that's an incredible story for MSPs to embrace, to realize that, even a huge organization like Pax8 started somewhere, just like they're starting somewhere. And so it comes down to that commitment and the dedication to finding a way to make it happen and doing the best you possibly can.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think you nailed it. Commitment, strategy, and execution.
Yeah.
Right. Those 3 things. If you have the strategy, you're committed to it, and you execute, amazing things will happen.
Right.
But there are days where you are going to get knocked down.
Right.
You will meet adversity and feel disbelief, of course.
Right.
But when you're committed to it and the opportunity is there, you continue.
Never give up. Never give up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we're a couple guys from Michigan.
Right.
We know a lot about that in some of the sports teams that are there. You never give up. We're still hoping.
Right.
We're through the Lions to maybe pull something out.
Yeah.
Because we're not giving
crossing our fingers.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. So, based on the conversation you've been having, what are some of the, top of mind things for MSPs that they should focus on in 2025?
No doubt. So thinking about what's going on in the community right now, the 3 main value drivers that we have at Pax8 that literally everything boils down to is grow revenue, gain efficiencies, and reduce risk.
Okay.
And in accomplishing the first 2,
you
can reduce risk in your business. And so what we have built out, in fact, you actually even see it at Beyond, it's really embedded. The 3 colors here, right? We have reduce risk is the red track. In fact, you see it in the logo, but you also see it in all the design work, in all of the breakout sessions that you have.
Yep.
They're all color coded. Okay. So red being reduced risk.
Okay.
We have green, which is growth of revenue, and blue is gain efficiencies. And so in these three areas, that's what this entire, Beyond is about, is amplifying that, because we have many programs all the time year round, but this is an opportunity for a large summit, a large step up, right? If we think that 1% a day, we can be getting better, this gives us a moment to just take a leap forward in an event like this. And so, in those areas, I think businesses are continuing to think about becoming more efficient. They are thinking about data, AI. How can we start to use agents? How do we think about productivity and process improvement? We can continue to scale. And that obviously behooves us, because, when our MSPs win to get into the SMB market, we win. So we need them to continue to become more operationally efficient, to capture more of the SMB market. Because every SMB business can transform and grow their business through technology. So that's about gaining efficiency. And we see that through a lot of different great providers that are here, that are exhibiting. And then, of course, through data and AI. Right. The second one is revenue growth, and revenue growth right now. So a lot happening around security. And I think what we have really done to separate ourselves here is, because, again, of our academy and all the investments we've made in that enablement, we have about 400 different pieces of content in our academy. About 200 of them are actual courses that you can take on demand. But we also have instructor-led courses. We have peer groups here and there, and business coaching. But what we've done is we've put a wrapper around this. We call it guided growth. The guided growth program basically starts off with an assessment to understand where you are. Everyone's on a different part. Doesn't matter the size of your business. You're on a different part in your journey, depending on the topic. If it's security, or if it's data and AI, which we're just rolling out right now and unveiling to the market, is our data and AI guided growth program. But we've had our security guided growth program. So it begins with an assessment. We assess your skills, capabilities, and then we also assess for route to market, your sales and marketing skills. And based on that, we've outlined a journey for you to go on. It takes you all the way through all of these elements. And the outcome is you now have a go-to-market that you can put in place. And so hearing a lot about these programs that are helping our partners, again, become more efficient, growth in revenue, and ultimately reduce risk in the business.
And I mean, we talk a lot about this on our calls, is that, that educational component. I mean, the only way that you grow is through, bettering yourself, and through that education. And I mean, you guys don't do this just to throw content out there. I mean, it's content that's relevant, and they're proven. Right.
That's right. That's right. And we've had about 1,600 partners that have gone through our security guided growth program. And we've seen 65 of them that literally are just starting their first journey and getting in market a cybersecurity offering. And it's pretty incredible to think about that in itself. And last part I'll bring up on this is, in the assessment, right? Everybody is beginning on their own phase of their growth, their own maturity level. It's just like, I'm going to use a baseball analogy. When you start off playing the game, you teach someone, you swing, hit the ball, and you run this direction. Right. But we're not going to teach them situationally about bunting and moving a runner in a scoring position. The concept is just not there yet. Right. We need the foundation built so we can build upon it. So great note on that.
That's great. What are MSPs asking for the most right now?
The most things that MSPs are asking for is more marketing and sales. Right. They want content, but they want to be able to turn that content on. In some cases, they want to be able to have alignment on co-selling. So if we can help them get aligned into the content, to be able to prospect the top of the funnel, and then help them in the middle part of the funnel, even into closing with a co-selling motion, these things we can then help educate them and get them more comfortable and confident in taking that and going to market themselves. And that is by and large, the biggest thing that's being asked for. of course, the AI topic is, where do we get started? How do we get started? And how do we take this and put something in front of our clients? They're going to make sure that we can deliver on business outcomes, but also in a secure and compliant way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, keyword business outcome, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we hammer that over and over. We got to take that tech hat and step it aside, put it aside. And, so, I guess my next question is regarding scratching the surface at everything that Pax8 has to offer.
Yeah.
We talk about this on our calls with our MSPs about how their clients are only scratching the surface of what's available. I mean, like take a look at 365, an incredibly powerful application.
Oh my gosh.
There is
Absolutely.
so much available, and most are using it for email, or maybe storing some files on OneDrive.
Yeah.
But the depth of that is unbelievable. So I guess kind of circling back to how this relates, to Pax8. I mean, we have to eat our own dog food, right? We have to be able to, make sure that our vendor relationships with Pax8 as an example, that everything that's available, we're taking advantage of, because it's not fluff.
That's right.
It's true business proven practices that can help them be more efficient, more productive, more profitable, more secure, and also help them to deliver a better client experience.
Yeah.
So how can an MSP take more advantage of everything that you have to offer?
Yeah. I mean, it's great to think about the journey for our partners, right? And essentially how you Pax8.
Okay.
And
I like the way you said that.
Yeah. When you think about that, right, it really resonates, because as we've had partners who have been active with us for, a decade, over a decade, we've been consistently releasing and bringing to market new things for them,
right?
Whether that be new technology, new products, new product offerings, new programs.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's not uncommon to be in an event like this, land on a topic and talk about something like professional services or our help desk offering, and not hear, wow, I didn't know you did that.
Right.
So that's an opportunity for us, right?
Sure.
I want to call that out.
Sure.
For a new partner, of course, it's a clean slate.
Right.
So we get that moment to discuss how you Pax8 and take advantage. But when you have as many offerings as us, it's our opportunity to, of course, make sure that we understand the business objectives that you have, and then how to Pax8, how to get the most out of it so you can get to that value as fast as possible. And so, a good example might be, hey, look, we want to grow revenue. We want to grow it with existing, but also new clients. We want to do that, whether it's through a Microsoft offering or maybe a cyber strategy. We want to enhance it, go to market. Well, our job is to make sure that they understand, okay, there's events, there's guided growth programs, and there are, of course, CIS consults. And with these things in mind, we also have products that once you're ready, you can turn on, things like storefronts. Right. Now, it sounds simple to me because I'm immersed in this every single day.
Yeah.
So in the how you Pax8, this is the programmatization that we are seeking to actually amplify right now. We're actually working on a lot of this as we speak. And we want to make sure that not just new partners get that, but all partners get that, to understand the breadth and depth in which we deliver these offerings. Yeah.
That's awesome. So as we wrap up, any parting words for MSPs that you want to share?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, look, the success that we've had together, it's been an amazing partnership to do this, and to know that the community here is continuing to grow. I know before we got on, we were talking about the next generation coming in and saying, hey, that's a place, that's an industry I want to be in. It's amazing to see how big this community is continuing to get. Yeah. So that's obviously a top point for us. But for us, it's continue to lean in, take advantage, let's work together, and of course continue to grow this opportunity and see what the future has in store with us. Which if you're not at Beyond, you've got to come. You're missing out.
Absolutely.
The unveiling, the rollout, obviously the energy that's here, got to come. This has to be on the docket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah,
I
my
greatly
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And for everybody out there, thank you for listening to us. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Stack.